Stig here, and today I bring you the treat of Garuda Extreme Mode. This is specifically for the members of Blood is Power, but if anybody else is tuning in, I thank you very much, as I hope anybody's watching these, though I do enjoy making them. It's even more fun when people actually watch. But, anywho, I'm not sure why I started the video before we actually got into the instance, and I'm going to try to do this in tutorial fashion slash narration. We'll see how that goes. This is a farming party that we're in now, and it came to our attention that there was a few people in the party that had never done the fight before, or had never completed the fight before, rather, and snuck their way in, which goes to show that it is not very difficult unless you are a tank. If you're a tank, you're not going to be able to sneak into this fight and tell everybody that you do this fight all the time, that you can do it in your sleep, when in reality, you've never done it before. There is a man in this group that rhymes with man, and he had never done this fight before, but we still scathed by fine, and we still do a decently good job. I think there's a couple mistakes that go on. I know I made a few mistakes, and I'll point this out for you, because I'm just that kind of person. Now, I am in the off-tanking position. Our main tank is Alpha, and that is a better position taken by a Paladin, just because Garuda and Suparna like to do an attack called Wicked Wheel, which is about 3,500, 4,500 damage unmitigated. Not sure the exact number, but it's really high, and you need to have mitigation up. You can dodge it. It is possible. You're not going to find not a lot of tanks that know how to dodge it, as it is a 360 degree. It's about the area of that flame circle you see on the ground, and it is a very tough ability to dodge. So you're going to see most of your tanks eating it. Keep that in mind, healers, as their health will drop very low. If they don't have any mitigation up, you gotta throw stone skin on them or something to give them some chance to survive. Great thing to know about this fight, those first 10% health points of Garuda do not need to be rushed down. Don't waste any CDs on it. There's no reason to push her to the 90% mark where she jumps up. Everybody has to hide behind the rock. And the longer, the better, probably, because you're building up your limit break. Limit break's not as important on this fight. If your DPS is low, you do want to limit break Suparna in the tornado phase, just because there is a little bit of a DPS race, but like I said, this is a tanking fight. They've divided the three primal fights into the three categories of play. You've got your tank fight in Garuda, your DPS fight in Titan, and your healing fight in Ifrit, which I think is awesome. I don't know if it's ever been done, but it's a great idea to get everybody on their toes. You know you're a good player if you've downed all three of them, just for that reason. Can't get carried through Titan if you're not a good DPS. Definitely can't get carried through Ifrit if you're not a good healer, and you definitely can't get carried through Garuda if you're not a good tank. So pride yourself, people, on beating those fights if you are any of those classes. Now, back to the fight, as I hoped I would not get on any tangents, and apparently I did. So, Slipstream. That is an ability used by all three of these sisters. I guess it runs in the family, and they just love to slipstream. Slipstream is easily dodgeable, not only by the tanks, but by anybody standing in front of her, mainly the DPS. I'll see plenty of instances where it comes with luck, not really luck. You could time it correctly. But if Suparna stops and you're standing in front of her, run behind her. Make it a common rule of thumb to always stay behind a Garuda mob. Let it be Charada, let it be Suparna. Make a point to stand behind her because she's probably casting Slipstream if she's stopped in her tracks. Anybody gets hit by Slipstream that's not the tank, you're probably going to die. It does 4,500 damage roughly. So I know in this fight I kind of screw Lionel over by moving. You dodge it by moving through Garuda or Charada or Subarna, as well as you would with any frontal cone attack. And I move forward too soon, turn Charada toward Lionel, and he gets slipstreamed. Now, not to take the blame off of me, but if he were on his toes, he could have moved behind her and dodged that. That's not something he should be expecting, though. That was on my bad. I shouldn't have done that. Uh, Now, the spiny plume comes in this second phase of the fight, and it is a very smart mechanic. It's a very hard mechanic, and the reason that you cannot be carried through this fight if you are a tank is for that very reason, is the spiny plume. You can throw up all the mitigation you want for Wicked Wheel, but if you don't know how to work this spiny plume, you will not complete the fight. So as you can see at the beginning of this phase, which is after the very first spiny plume phase, these two phases are going to repeat themselves. They're going to go this phase, that phase, this phase, that phase. This is where I turn Charada towards Lionel. Right there. Or no. May have already missed it. Oh well. Okay, so Spiny Plume, what it does, it puts stacks on the person that it aggroes. The enmity on Spiny Plume's a little funny. Once you provoke it, you're probably not going to lose it, but you still want to... I usually throw a couple overpowers down. If you're a paladin, I recommend flashing it, just because I have still seen it lost, even after you provoke it. Though you're only getting one enmity off that provoke, if you look at the enmity charts, it should give you 100,000 enmity for some reason. It's just the funny workings of the Spiny Plume, and it doesn't always work correctly. So be very careful with it. Now, what happens with these stacks is when you get to 3 stacks on one person, the group blows up. Spells cast called Super Cyclone, and unless you're extremely overgeared for this fight, you're going to wipe. So, if a tank tells you, oh, I accidentally provoked a Razor Plume, which happens, I've done it. I think I did it on the night of this farm, which was the only time I've done it, admittedly. If somebody says that to you, don't panic. You can eat the Spiny Plume Super Cyclone, but you're gonna have to waste your tank's limit break. It's kind of an oh shit situation, very situational. You don't really need limit break on this fight. I don't think we do use it to take Garuda down, but she's got a lot of health. So the limit break 3 does 25,000 health and takes her down maybe 5%, which we could have done anyways. So it's kind of better to stick around for an oh shit button, or as I said, if your DPS is too low and you need to use it on Suparna on the tornado phase to kind of push that phase to be done with. If you don't kill Suparna or Charada in time, you will wipe. Not necessarily Suparna. If Suparna jumps and Garuda jumps, and Suparna's only got 5% health, still do what you normally do, kill the Spiny Plume. You're going to take a lot more damage, but you're not going to wipe, so don't throw in the towel yet. There's a lot of situations in this fight where I have thrown in the towel, and I've done this fight probably in the hundreds. I've done it a lot of times. I like it, it's fun, and it's challenging as a tank, and yeah, it's pretty much a tank show. So, another thing to note with Slipstream, which I think happens here. Yeah, she starts casting Slipstream in the middle of that tornado. If you're a good melee DPS as well as a good off tank, run away into this back corner behind the tornado so you can not get hit by it, because I'll see a lot of herpy derpy melee DPS standing there waiting for Suparna to come over, probably wondering why she stopped moving in the middle of the tornado and eating a slipstream to the face. And that's game over, man. You're done. Your life is over. You've been killed by slipstream because you stood there and ate it. And I take that responsibility as a tank. So please don't stand there and eat the slipstreams. Now, this phase is the first Spiny Plume phase, the one we're on right now, even though we've rotated through the phases several times. What you want to do as an off tank is pull that Spiny Plume away from all the other Razor Plumes so they can, as you see, AoE all the Razor Plumes. If you don't kill those Razor Plumes in time, they will blow up, do about 1500 damage each. So if you don't kill them in time, your group will wipe. Seen wipes like that. And that's the end of the fight. I need to delete that, by the way. Um, yeah, that's the end of the fight. It's very easy. It's very fun, and I recommend getting into it if you haven't yet. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day, and see you next time.